Look, there it is. Rathalos, the king of the sky. And it's G rank too. This thing is a serious beast. We need a plan. Aim for the tail first, then the wings. If it takes off, I'll hit it with a flash bomb. Then you... Damn it, Leroy! If you follow me on Twitter, and seriously, why don't you? You might have noticed my love of a game called Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. It's a game of monster killing quests, collecting their bits to craft armor, and then going after bigger monsters to kill. Lots of skill and actual hunting strategy going on. Very addictive game. And imagine how delighted I was to find out it had toys by Revoltech. So we're going to look at this one, the Hunter in Zinogre armor. Specifically, it's a Blademaster, as there's different armor designs for gunners. We're going to do things differently and talk articulation first, because Revoltech is all about their revolver joints. If you never saw these before, they're joints with a ratcheted hinge in the middle and pegs that allow parts to swivel, resulting in small universal joints that hold their positions very effectively. And they use them for everything. Everything. At the head, there's one on his ponytail and face. Yes, his face is articulated. It's because of the helmet and collar. His neck is jointed as well, but the design hinders it a lot. You get more motion out of the torso joint below the neck. Shoulders have a full range with the shoulder armor jointed so it can move out of the way. Elbows are hindered from the armor, but not bad, and there is a wrist swivel. A restricted waist is fixed by a torso joint that has a good range of motion. Hips are jointed along with the knees, which have great range, and it's topped off by jointed ankles and toes, though only the left toe works, the other is hindered. I use that word more than I'd like. The design is quite complicated, so I guess it's to be expected. There's enough to get some good range out of him, though. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship between me and revolver joints these days. I feel like they haven't aged well. They're good at holding positions, but if something's just a little off, especially in trying to get him to stand stable, the ratchet effect keeps you from making that minute adjustment you need. On this guy, for instance, to stand on his own, he always has to have this weird pelvis-out posture. The ratchets prevent him from standing up straight, and the hunched look he has from the helmet and collar don't help. Then there's the risk of pulling the joints apart. If you need to rotate a joint, you're actually instructed to disassemble a part, turn the joint manually with tweezers, then reassemble. I just feel like Figuarts and Figmas do so much better with all they've learned to do with ball joints. But there is one reason I come back to this line, besides my love of Monster Hunter. Detailing. Revoltech did a masterful job sculpting and painting this figure. The head shows you everything you need to know with such a variety of sculpting textures and paint layers. Everything looks appropriate. The bone looks weathered and dirty. The fur is well molded and flowing. There's a subtle paint to the hide to make it look natural. Even the metal has a crude forged look to it. All the paint is appropriate style, metallic, subtle, or gritty where needed. It might get a bit sloppy in areas, but it does a tremendous job of bringing out all the sculpted detail. And with so much details mixing up color and textures all over, it's an amazing job overall. Then there's accessories, and wow, Revoltech does not mess around. We'll get our usuals out of the way, starting with a storage box for the parts that will actually fit in it. These can interlock too, making a nice storage option for your stray hands. The other must-have Revoltech extra is a display stand, mercifully in the case of this toy. This will get you some more natural poses, as well as anything gravity-defying you'd like to pose him in. The translucent plastic has me nervous about leaving the weight of a toy on it for too long, but naturally, it has a revolver joint on it, so when you do have him on the stand, he isn't going anywhere. But for stability without fragility, he has another stand. This one more in the effect part range and the classic peg into foot method of keeping toys upright. It's supposed to look like an impact effect, like he's digging in his foot as he strikes. It's kinda strange, but it can be used effectively enough to keep him stable without the display arm. But it does look silly without a weapon, so let's fix that. First off, how about a long sword? This is the Usurper's Bolt Slicer, made from the bone and hide of the Zinogre. It's a pretty mean weapon design, with the claws used as the hilt and the hide as the blood groove. Very pointy design too, but then again, it is a thunder weapon. It's a really nice sword, though the handle is very thin, so be careful with it. As a bonus, you get another one with its sheath to have your hunter armed and ready, though of course it pegs in with a revolver joint. You can even remove the handle to pair it with the actual sword to complete the look. Kinda think of everything, don't they? But longswords were never really my speed, no. For slaying beast and wyverns, I always go with dual blades. This is why I wanted this guy. Hack and slash! These are the Usurper's Fulgur, thunder element blades, and these look wicked, with the layers of bone blades and sawtoothed edge. Love dual weapons on a figure. So much to do with them. Very dynamic. Better yet, notice how the handguards are different, one fur and one bone? The bone can be moved to the top of the blade to make something closer to a nasty-looking sickle. I generally prefer them to look the same, but options are always nice. And like the sword, you can mount the blades on the back. They even give you a double revolver joint, so one blade mounts farther back, letting you overlap them on his back. They think of everything that can be done with revolver joints. Oh, wait. Hands. Got a little carried away talking weapons. It's the basic arrangement, 10 in all. There's the default fists, of course, but there's also a second set with the clawed fingers in a more natural position. There's also holding hands, relaxed hands, and open hands that have an extra wrist hinge. Yeah, a hinge, not a revolver joint. I was surprised too. So that's the story of the Zinogre Blademaster. Revolver joints everywhere for better or worse, but amazing detailing and paintwork and a wealth of accessories. If you're a fan of the games, I'd call it a must-have simply for how pretty it is on display. And if you have the Companion Beast or the Rathalos Hunter, even better. There's better action figures out there, but for Monster Hunter, well, there isn't.